going to be my next step? So I had to decide what would be my next step. And since I had this great passion for mathematics, I thought to share my previous experience and combine them together in order to become a coach of smaller clients, let's say, still in the area of mathematics. And that's how everything started.
And you were the first one to start a center in Basel, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was the first one, and initially he had a center in a certain location, and then we expanded, and at the beginning of 2020, actually, we moved to a new location. So more or less when the pandemic started hitting the world.
I think I have a picture here. I can briefly share. Okay, this is us. You're pretty, I know. But let's have a look at your center. Your center, yeah, as it is now and where it is located. So it's in Basel, quite central. And if I look at it there on the picture, it's really pretty, but it's also very light and everyone can see. And yeah, I remember that picture on the right side. That was when we had your opening event. No?
Yeah, right.
The
Exactly.
first ever, no? In the old location on the third or fourth floor. No?
It was on the third
were
floor.
Up there in the sky, there was the KUMON Center.
It was.
Now KUMON is down to earth.
You came down you descended.
But you know what, Marzio? It looks lovely now, doesn't it? On the left is now your new center, right?
Yes. One thing I've learned is that in the centers it's important to keep the decoration at the minimum in order not to create distraction. At the same time, we want to keep light colors. So in this case, white. And a lot of light because it helps the student to be focused on what they are doing. And so in this center also we painted everything white. We use white furniture and white as much as possible. You see also there are two different type of desks. Now there is only the first type of desk, the one you see in the front, because it's easy to sanitize, because that we have to do, of course, because of the corona. Before we had those other desks which are for two people. Now it is a single desk for student.
So you had to adjust, had to adapt. Anything that happened in that time where you would say that that's something I learned, something positive that came out of that period of challenges?
Oh yes, of course. Any challenge takes also with itself an opportunity, right? So in case of the corona, well, one of the things, as you see, we did was to use this desk that are single desk. I always saw centers with double desk, but I figure out that in the time of corona, single desk can be separated and kept distant. So from a technical point of view, this is just something I've learned. But also many other things happened during these interesting 9 months. I've noticed how many students like, for instance, to interact online. So we are offering KUMON online. And KUMON itself has invested quite an amount of time and resources in promoting the online program. And they come online for different reasons. Well, naturally, because of the virus, parents are scared. They don't want the kids to circulate, to go around as much as possible. And in some cases, just they prefer to do a mixed way. So sometimes they come to the center, and sometimes they are online because, I don't know, that day they have no time, and afterwards they have to go to a birthday party. And so this is something I've learned, to be flexible in the offer of KUMON, because the needs of each parent and each student are different.
How have you found the students studying online, though? Have they still been able to keep, with their worksheets, keep with that focus?
Yes. Okay. To my experience, maybe some other instructor had other experiences. To my experience, when students study online, they need to have much more self-discipline. Because one thing is being online in front of the screen, and another is to stay at home in your comfort zone and maybe switch on the PC whenever you want. So I think the experience in the center is more involving, is more all around. As an instructor, I can also observe many more things, get many more information that are useful for me to assess the student, rather than when they are online and I can see the camera pointing to the worksheets and how they work. So from the involvement point of view, both possibility on-site and online can work. One requires more discipline, at the same time can give you more freedom. You don't have to commute, so the time is better used, is more efficient way.
That's great. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that so far. I think what I should also mention to the people out there is that, of course, as always in those meetings here on Facebook, feel free to leave comments and we will try to answer as many questions as we can in those few minutes that we have here together with Marzio. So maybe you want to know about him, how he became an instructor, what happened, how he grew his center, now almost 200 subjects, and you started with 0. And how he did that, what's the best? I would ask you, Marzio, what was maybe the most amazing event that you had in those last years? What is the thing that you think I would not have had ever encountered if I wouldn't have started that career?
You mean personal experience in terms of
in your
gratification,
center,
for instance, or in the center? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's
maybe there's more than one, but you can.
Yeah, in fact, I was really thinking that basically every day there is something new and something that made me to reflect about this activity. So I'd say that there is no maybe one single event that I remember, but when I see a student coming at the center and coming to me and say, yesterday it was my birthday party, and this is a chocolate for you. Or another student to draw something, maybe him at the school or her at the school, saying, thank you for helping me. Now, these type of emotions that they bring to me through the actions is incredible. And this happens regularly on a daily basis. I can say that in these 4 years, there has not been one single day, really, where when I woke up thinking, oh my God, I have to go to work. No, I was always thrilled and full of energy, thanks to the student, to continue to do this. This is a great personal gratification.
Oh, that's good to hear. No? Because I think what job do you have where this is there for years and years to come, even in challenging times now? No? The first thing you think about is the feedback you get from your clients, from your students directly on a daily basis, and not only once every 5 years.
Actually, if I compare to my previous job, I had the clients a bit, let's say, grown up normally, but the type of gratification that I had at the time were nice, economical, sure, but not something like this, not something where you feel part of the development of a young person. And this type of passion, I think, is one of the features that I've noticed also in the other colleagues of mine, the other KUMON-Instructors. And I think is maybe the key features that I would advise anyone to look inside if they decide one day to open, or if they are interested to open a KUMON center.
Marzio, I mean, you made the decision to open up in Basel, Switzerland. Yeah, there was no other KUMON center. Yeah, first time for KUMON to be in that location. Why? Why did you say this is where I want to do? Oh, why did you say, yep, I want to have a KUMON center here?
Right. So, well, first of all, I live in Switzerland, and I was looking for a place in Switzerland. And then I knew that at the time there were already two common centers, or one common center, sorry, in Zurich, but no common center in Basel. Basel is a relatively small city, but it is very international because it's a hub of the pharmaceutical industry. So I thought that there was a great need in that place to support children who otherwise wouldn't have moved till Zurich maybe to do in a command center. So I made this type of assessment, and I thought that Basel could have been a right place.
Since then, as
Yes.
Thomas said, yeah, from 0 to almost 200 now.
Yeah, we have many students. I'm happy for that. Of course, is a sign that we are doing a good job. I hope so, at least. And I think another thing is that these students, because Basel is an international hub, are from different heritage, different countries, different background. We have local students, we have international students, we have students who go to private school, students who go to the public school, students who live in the area of Basel, but I have two students actually who live in Bern. So where there is no command center.
No.
By the way.
If anyone is thinking, let's talk. Yeah.
Yes. So if anyone is interested, maybe Bern is another place. So it's kind of an international melting pot. Myself, I'm not Swiss, I'm Italian. My assistants, some are from India, but some others are from Nigeria. We had assistants from Ukraine, from Romania. And I like this type of mix of culture because not only it's not only a matter of what you study, but also how you interact with other people. In our common center, we also provide English as a second language, right? So the official language there by design is English, even though the official language in Basel is German. And that's another decision that we took in order to give the feeling that no matter where is the command center, there are some things that can unite everyone internationally. And one of them is the language itself.
I see that you see language, but also education actually as a kind of universal skill. I know that some people watching here, they might think, how does that work? Yeah, they come with that method that comes from Japan, and it's maybe all in English 60 years ago. So how does that work in a world of today, maybe somewhere in Romania or somewhere in Croatia or Poland? And what would you respond to those? Or Sofia in Bulgaria, where you are right now, no?
Exactly.
I saw that from the plant behind you, typical Bulgarian plant. No, what would you respond to those? How is KUMON different to, let's say, all those tutoring, teaching, helping activities that are already well established? Everywhere in the world, wherever you go, there is something going on with helping kids. But what's the difference with KUMON?
Well, as you mentioned, Thomas, KUMON was created 62 or 63 years ago, right? Was founded. Now, at the time, it was an extraordinary modern approach, because there are some main differences that I recognize between KUMON and other tutoring systems. First of all, in KUMON, we don't have teachers. We have, let's say, coach or instructors. And the difference is that teacher stays front of the blackboard and explains something, and the students read and try to learn. With KUMON, we want to encourage the students to learn by themselves. So we don't position ourselves on a pedestal, but we help the student, we identify where they may be area of improvement, and help them to remove any obstacles so that they learn how to learn by themselves. And they develop and they they realize they can develop their ability to the fullest. This is a great difference in approach, which is extraordinarily modern. Think about that. When the kids go around with a device like this, like my daughter or anyone's children, what they do, they don't read any manual, or they don't ask their parents or anyone how does it work. They try, they figure out, and they create a logical mapping in their mind. And they do at the end in few, very, very fast and very efficiently. And how can they do that? Because they have motivation. So another key of Kumon is how we can motivate the students to do something that apparently seems less fancy, like mathematics or English. But if they have the motivation, in fact, the best way of learning is self-learning. So in that sense, Kumon is rather different. And to address the specific question, how Kumon matches the local educational system, well, in a way, I believe that in the next 10 or 20 years, it will be local education system that will have to match the Kumon approach, because it's already starting now. I see my daughter, which goes to a public school, and they have a lot of online assessment. They have to fetch out information by themselves without the guidance of someone, just under the supervision of someone. The way education is going to be provided, it will be much more horizontal and much more student-centered than it was in the past 150 years since, let's say, Napoleon creation of public education. So Kumon is, in a way, the future. And if the student can profit now of that, they will have a competitive advantage irrelevant in whichever education system they are.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You should maybe work for marketing and kind of writing the copy for our website. Actually, I have two questions here. One is by someone called Isabella Guidice. I think you might be a little bit familiar with them, or it's a really weird coincidence. And she asked maybe to share, I think she knows, but for you to explain a bit, how did you first encounter Kumon? How was that?
Yes, I understand the reason of that question from Isabella. So I did not know about Kumon, which sadly is not so known here in Europe, unlike, with some exception, like UK, for instance. I knew about Kumon because my daughter initially was enrolled to this other center, which is in Weil am Rhein, where there is my colleague, Susanne, and Isabella started at Kumon there. And I noticed the progress that she was having. And the progress was not so much about, how to say, doing everything fast, but it was more about being inquisitive and try to give a reason of what she was doing. And this is a great thing, because many times I noticed that students have the idea that mathematics, for instance, is a matter of memorizing a lot of formula, which is quite the opposite. The formula is the result of a certain logical process, and you have to understand the process, because then the formula is consequent. And because my daughter, Isabella Giudice, was doing that, I was very impressed about this, about Kumon. So when I was thinking about opening a, let's say, math center or something like that, and there were Khan Academy or other competitors, I thought, no, wait a moment, Kumon, I think it's a it's a great approach that Kumon has. So let's see how it is possible to open a Kumon center here in Basel.
Marvelous. Thank you very much, Marzio. You said something about learning and you were impressed. And my question is, of course, then what happened after that? What did you do after you decided, I want to be a Kumon instructor? I want to find out how to be a Kumon instructor. What did you do first?
Exactly. So what I did first was the following. First, I contacted you, Thomas.
You did
Actually,
that.
I
That is a
contact
very
KUMON,
good
and
idea.
KUMON was
No, well, jokes aside, a kind of a rhetoric question for everyone, because we had the question here in Facebook, how do you actually become an instructor? And the first step, as in every Chinese proverb or any journey, the first step is the most important, because you can't have the second before the first. So first is get in touch. And the meeting we had, the first encounter, to find out what it is, to dip your toe into the water if you want to, find out a little bit more, what is it being a KUMON instructor? Because even you were a parent, and you saw the parent's perspective. And if you look back now, I think the perspective of the instructor is slightly different.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
true.
is a different part of the animal, part of that elephant that you touch.
Yes.
And we want you to have that experience before you make any decision, before you sign anything or pay anything or make any commitment. Find out what that KUMON thing is. And we have some first stage contact where we meet online nowadays. I think we didn't have that when you asked. It was all person. Now we can actually have a first encounter online, so you get a bit of an insight. If you think, yeah, sounds great, I want to get even more information, then we would actually meet in person, as we did back in the days, spend a whole day together. And we will still do that, because we found, as you did in the center, online is great and it's fantastic, but actually that personal relationship, that direct contact is indispensable. We don't want to miss that. And then we take it from there to training. And today's training, of course, we have to be careful and adhere to the regulation for good reason. You don't want anyone to go back from training being sick. We want you to go back and have learned and experienced. So that had to change a little bit, but our target's still the same. You go and open your centers, and we had centers opening. Last week, someone opened in Hamburg. We had Cologne opening. We had Poland also somewhere there, center open. No?
In Poznan as well.
Poznan. So we had openings all over Europe, even during the lockdown period. And now that there are less strict measures on a general scale, there is even more opportunity to start successfully your new center. Fantastic. So please fire ahead if there are more questions. Yeah, Isabella, maybe you have more questions. Don't hesitate. Or Sylvia, thank you very much. Otherwise, I would hand over to Tom. I think Tom has some question for Marzio.
One of the things you said, Marzio, just to make a quick comment on this as well, is that KUMON is not so well known in Europe right now. UK, we have 435, over 700 centers, Spain, Germany, and such. But Marzio, you mentioned the international community in Basel. The last time I looked, I think it was about 25-30% or something was international.
Right.
But many of those new KUMON, right? Whether from Americas, from Asia, or so forth. Is that right?
Well, it's a mix. Some knew KUMON before as a name. Some were coming from KUMON centers, and some just knew from their peers or their friends. So there are different channels by which KUMON, of course, get known to the people.
And this is because KUMON is now in over 50 countries, I believe. 50. With Dubai, United Arab. I think we're at 59 countries around the world, and with that as well in Europe in the last 2 years, as you know, Marzio, Switzerland has been opening up for the first time in many years, which is super. With you, I think, leading the way. Then we had Poland, Greece, Romania, Bulgaria. We've now got people coming in for Croatia, the Czech Republic, and I think just last week it was for Slovakia as well. Why, Marzio? You said before, about the local education in Switzerland, and KUMON is fitting. People want to have that for their child. Why do you think Kumon is working for all of these countries so far? Why is it that we don't fit to the local, but we are able to still reach to these children?
Well, in a way, this has, I think, to do a lot with what is at the deepest meaning, what means education.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to think more philosophically, since 5 billion of years ago, when the first cell split into two, etc., the sole purpose of that was to transmit experience.
Mm.
And in that sense, Kumon addressed this fundamental process, which is at the core of our life, to transmit experience to others. This has nothing to do with different local systems. It has more to do with how the learners, so the students, perceive themselves and what they can do in order to acquire this experience. So Kumon is adaptable to every local system because in a way it addresses the fundamental process of education. That's what I think. It's the greatest value of how Kumon has been engineered.
And I can only add to that, Marzio, because that's a wonderful thing to say. Regardless of where you go to Kumon Center as well, and when you see children 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, 15 years old, it doesn't matter. That
absolutely.
That what did you say before? Motivation for them to find out and to do. It doesn't matter where they come from. It does not.
Yes.
Which is just this goes back to what you say. Every day you wake up and you want to go to work. Yeah.
That's my share of motivation and the energy I put in that. Absolutely. And for the same reason, if I can say something about the people who are listening and might be interested to become instructor, probably if you do your arithmetics, to be an instructor is not something you want to do in order to achieve a great financial profit. There are activities where you have to work less, and definitely you can have bigger economical benefits. But on the other side, if you have this passion, if you feel emotionally connected to the students and you have this great desire to transmit, to help them to get something and transmit through your experience something positive to them, then I think this is the best job in the world, really. So if people connect with these values, I think they could be great Kumon instructor.
You know, the last live session, I'll just finish with this comment. Laurence, your colleague over in Lausanne, we asked, you know, why did you want to become a Kumon instructor? And she had also come from like a training, coaching type background as well before. And she said she loved that, but she also, and she was being quite business minded. She says, you know what, education is a safe harbor. Yeah, even in difficult economical times, is it? So she actually went in with very kind of business reasons. Yeah, and now if you ask her, same as you, Marzio, going into her job every day, she loves it. she loves seeing those children develop. But it was so interesting, similar to yourself, Marzio, you know, from cryptography, you know, applied mathematics, to coaching, mentoring adults, mostly adults.
I would say so.
But then to this,
it's something that you give and something also you get. There is an exchange of positiveness and of growth, because you know you give motivation to your life in that sense. You find
I hear here that the core of what you do is the student. Yeah, your focus is the student. You are developing people, not teaching maths.
Exactly.
So by developing those people, of course, they learn maths, they learn English in an excellent way. We saw the picture with the kids in front of that board. That's because they are so advanced. They get awards and they receive their medals, and they are also receiving recognition in school. But your aim is actually to really look at those kids and make them better, make them smarter.
Yeah.
Depending on who they are. So
exactly depends a lot on student. There is no one person equal to another one, and the same is of course for the students.
And I think if I look at the Kumon instructors, I know in 16 years in Kumon I met quite a few, even people with 35, 40 years experience. They are still as fresh as you are.
Thank you for
and
that.
Still as curious as you are. Now, simply, I think because of that, if you focus on the students are constantly changing. They are amazing you. They are surprising you. They're giving you new insights, new ideas, new motivation on a daily basis.
Yes.
They change and they will never get boring. The mathematics, it's not going to change. It has been the way it is. What we do, we are not doing research into cryptography. We are doing what's the school mathematics, so up to A-levels level, university entrance level. That has been the same the last 3,000 years. Yeah, if you do that for 16 years, I think you will reach a point where you find that boring. Yeah, it's yet another linear equation, or adding fractions with same denominator again. Equally with the English, to be honest. Dickens hasn't changed his texts lately. Yeah, so if you focus on the subject, it will eventually get boring. You get that burnout, or why again? But the kids, they amaze you. They change. They give you new ideas. They show you that you do something, that you achieve something. As you said, on a daily basis, they make you get up in the morning and go to that center, even when it's raining like today. This is I think the exciting thing about their job. Often I'm a little bit jealous being in an office like that and not in a center where I would actually meet some kids this afternoon and maybe get a call from a parent telling me what's going on. And that's what really keeps you engaged and young and fresh as well.
Well, Thomas,
I know you like
also you also do a great thing in inspiring us instructors. So you see, it's again.
We have to stop here. No, we're actually at the end of our time. Let me have a last look. Is there any last question? No, there isn't. So maybe we actually just answered everything that they wanted to ask anyway. What leaves me with thanking you very much to take time out of your schedule on your holiday in Sofia.
Yeah.
Still a white spot on our map. Maybe you meet someone this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know my number. You know Tom's number.
Exactly.
Put them in touch. And
I
anyone
thought
who is interested.
I thought you had a spot talk with my wife because she is close to Isabella, because we are going to meet someone, and I'm going to ask exactly about a person that might be interested in opening a Kumon Center.
Look at that. Okay, that would be amazing.
You have me on WhatsApp, Marzio, so get me anytime.
I will do that.
Thank you very much, you two. And thank you everyone out there for watching. And we will be back in a few weeks back here with Pia, I think. Pia from Baden-Baden in Germany. So thank you very much indeed. And stay safe and bye-bye.
Same to you. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we can still continue.
Yeah.